Excited?
I cannot wait. Bill and I are teaming with Pride right now because of who's behind this door.
Big stars.
Yes, Terrence Howard, Bernie Mac, Tom Arnold, stars of the brand new movie Pride.
It's so big we're going to spend the entire hour and not only meet the stars but also meet the man who inspired the film.
That's right. We're going to introduce you to swimming coach Jim Ellis. It's an incredible show. You definitely want to stick around. We've got lots of great stuff coming up now on 10.
Let's get to it.
Let's do it.
Tri-State, you already know about the show, man. The podcast is in the building. It's the only place giving it to you. NBC 10, baby. 10 show. Get it poppin'.
Wow.
Go, please sit
Have a seat. The energy is so high. In the studio this morning, we have an incredible, incredible show.
Yes, and it's not just the excitement here in the studio, but some of this is left over from what happened last night at the world premiere of the new movie Pride. It's a buzz around town. In fact, it's the buzz in the movie world right now. The premiere at the Prince Movie Theater last night.
And of course, you're seeing a few shots from the red carpet there. Oscar-nominated actor Terrence Howard, comedian Bernie Mac were among the stars. There you're seeing Jim Ellis. That is the man who the movie is based on. The true story of a local school teacher who formed a swim team in one of Philadelphia's roughest neighborhoods in the 70s. Now, if you didn't make it to last night's premiere, you're going to get to see Pride when it hits the theaters on March 23rd.
Yes, we're dedicating our entire hour to the show today about the film. We'll be meeting some of the key players responsible for bringing this story to the big screen, along with the man who inspired the movie, Coach Jim Ellis.
Yeah, and that's not all. Some of the members of the star-studded cast are going to join us right here in our studio. We're talking Terrence Howard, Bernie Mac, Tom Arnold, and Evan Ross.
You got time.
Before we meet the cast, we thought we'd give you a sneak peek at the movie so many people in Hollywood fought to bring to the big screen.
The city sent me down here to pack up this place because they're closing it down in a few months, and told me to be here at 9 o'clock, so...
What the clock say? What the clock say?
In the movie Pride, Oscar-nominated actor Terrence Howard stars as public school teacher Jim Ellis, who is sent to shut down a public recreation facility in the middle of West Philadelphia in the 70s.
I've been at Market Foster, man, ever since this place was built. The first I hear about them tearing it down is right now. Oh, ain't like I ain't see it coming. But it could have gave me a heads up.
Elston, how many kids came through that front door today?
But what many thought would be the end turned out to be a new beginning for the Philadelphia Department of Recreation. Ellis and the facility's maintenance manager, played by comedian Bernie Mac, team up to form the city's first African-American youth swim team at the rec center.
Man, you were fierce in that one. Could you hook me up with some of those moves sometime?
Ellis finds himself not only faced with the task of teaching the teens to swim, but helping them overcome the racial and social stereotypes of the time.
You know what I saw, though?
What'd you say?
I saw a bunch of Negroes who thought because they were black that they were better than the other people. Some white kids was there, too.
Talk to me.
And they thought the same thing. And you know what? They were. They proved it today.
With Ellis as their leader both in and out of the pool, this motley crew of swimmers set out to prove to society and to themselves that they have the heart and the talent of champions.
You and the letters that stand for this place stand for PDR. But what does it mean to us? Pride, determination, and resilience. That's what's brought all these people together.
Wow.
Well, the making of this film brought people together from around the world. To find out more about what went into the making of Pride, please welcome the director and one of the producers of the movie, Sunu Ganera and Paul Hall.
Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Wow.
First of all, congratulations on this film.
Thank you. It's
Thank you very
fabulous
much.
to be here.
How was last night?
Out of body experience.
Really?
It was out of control.
Did you get any sleep?
I did, actually. My wife didn't get any sleep. She was too excited. She just stayed up till late, but it was awesome. Love the city.
Well, congratulations, Sunu, because I know that you actually sold your home in Africa and moved over here to the United States to make your feature directorial debut with this movie.
Yeah, it's been, it was quite a big thing to do, but I think the amazing thing was I met Paul immediately when we got here, and you know, it was getting family right away. It was God's way of saying, hey, this is your reward. You get a new family when you got here, and you know, besides working together, we become really close, and our families have become very close.
Absolutely. Sunu had great energy. He wanted to do this. Here's a guy who came over here. He was very focused on what he wanted to do. Just needed someone to, you know, hook up with, guide him through the period and through Philly.
And that's who you were, because
That's what I did.
you've done several films before this, Why Do Fools Fall in Love, and
Yeah.
I mean, you have a whole list of them. Why did you want to do this project?
Oh, because of, well, Sunu, big time. But the story, Jim Ellis. I mean, how would you not want to tell that story? Very rarely do we get to tell stories that have that uplifting results in their lives. I mean, he's tremendous. So, you know, it's hard. Lionsgate was great. They wanted to make this picture. It's very rare that you get the opportunity to tell that kind of story.
And you made a lot of this picture in New Orleans. And I know that you said that was important for a couple of reasons.
Well, you couldn't get the period. 64 and 74 Philly. Philly's out here, and if you live here, you know, you may not really recognize the change. But it's hard to capture the period in Philly that was happening at that era. And New Orleans really provided that. You know, and on the other side of the coin, you know, they needed some help at that time. They needed a production there to help them. But most importantly, it was the period. So we could recreate a lot of things that we couldn't do today because Philly is very modern. It's a technological world today.
Well, Sunu, if you came from Africa to do this film, what did you have to do to familiarize with not only the story, but also Philadelphia and the feeling here in the city?
From a story perspective, I mean, it's a story that I totally related to, an underdog story. I mean, I played rugby up to a professional level, and I think the sportsman's struggle is the same all over the world. You know, the kids themselves, the struggle they went through, that's, you know, I went through the same thing. And then in terms of Philadelphia, I mean, we came and spent some time here with Uncle Jim. I call him Uncle Jim, and you know, went around the city, and also the weird thing is that I put together a little booklet that I put together for commercials, and you know, when I'm doing a film, just a visual thing where I did a lot of research. And when I came here, and I had never been here, when I came here and started looking at the pictures, it looked exactly the same as what I'd researched when I was in South Africa. And then Paul also has that, I mean, is slightly older than me, a few years older than me.
Is that okay?
A couple, that's all right.
A couple. So,
A little more experience is what you're saying?
A little more experience. That's the right way to put it.
Very nicely put.
That's what I say about Phil.
And
A little more experience.
And I think the combination of Paul and Mike Passanek and Lionsgate, too, you know, the three of us really were concerned about authenticity. So visually, I knew what I wanted, and then Paul, for example, in the wigs would say to me, "Oh, maybe that's going too far," and Mike on the music, or you know. So it was a combination of the three of us really being concerned about the authenticity, which for me is a big deal. And then once I'd been here a few days and spent time with Jim, and then I really had the picture in my head.
Well, how was it making the transition from directing shorter films and commercials to doing a big screen production like this?
It's a radical difference, but I think it's also, for me, it was a natural thing, because it's almost, you know, that thing where, what did Einstein say, imagination is more important than knowledge. And in my head, I've seen myself doing this for a lot, right from when I started in film. So when I did make that transition, it felt right. But that's where I also needed the experience of people who'd done it in terms of the longer format. The concentration levels are hectic. You really got to concentrate a lot more, because, you know, in a commercial, I'm shooting, you know, 30 seconds. Here I'm shooting 30 seconds here, but they affect, you know, the whole 120 minutes.
Well, you concentrated on it. We get to just sit back and enjoy it because it really was an incredible film. Sunu Ganera, Paul Holt, thank you so much for being here, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, coming up next, we're going to meet the man who inspired the film himself. We'll talk to Jim Ellis about what it was like to see his life come to the big screen. We'll be right back with more of Tim.
You are now the official representatives of the Marcus Foster Recreational Center.
What you talking about?
You guys asked for a meet, right? Well, you got it this weekend against Mainline Academy. You are now an official team.
Welcome back to a special edition of The 10 Show. We're devoting our entire hour today to the new Lionsgate film, Pride.
That's right. Pride is based on the true story of swim coach Jim Ellis, who gave a group of young people from a troubled Philadelphia neighborhood a reason to believe success was within their reach. Now, I recently got a chance to meet Jim and some of those swimmers whose lives he's changed. For Jim Ellis, head of the Philadelphia Department of Recreation Swimming, coaching isn't what he does, it's who he is.
I'm living the dream.
Ellis's dream was to teach inner city kids in Philadelphia how to swim competitively. And after more than 30 years at the Marcus Foster Pool, his reality is that his passion for the pool is now a major motion picture called Pride.
You are now an official team.
In the film, Terrence Howard plays a younger Ellis.
You know who I think cheated, Mr. Williamson? You did.
He was okay. No, it was good. It was, hey, he was a star. He was a star who just had gotten nominated for an Oscar and wanted to do the project. I was honored.
Honored but humble. Ellis, who's had a lifetime of living and breathing chlorine, is quick to bring the conversation back to competition and the kids.
I don't think any other team that came from an environment like ours has achieved the things that our people have achieved.
Achievement is what Coach has always expected. He has the kids practice before and after school and on Saturdays. It's a style that makes these young swimmers want to win.
The best. He's like really nice and cares about me. He calls me his superstar.
He's like my second father, because he really cares about me and he wants me to go places. So I listen to him and do the best I can for him.
Ellis says swimming can change lives. And since he started this swim team in the 1970s, he's seen it happen over and over again.
I guess he's more convinced of himself and what he can do.
Mamie Johnson watches her grandson Frankie practice and loves to see him compete.
It's exhilarating. It is so much fun, and especially when he wins. When he wins a race, it is so exciting.
I set the bar very high, and they reach for it.
Ellis says he still hasn't reached his bar. Despite the movie and the lives he's touched, he still wants more for the city and his swimmers.
I want to put somebody on the Olympic team. I want someone to win a national championship. I like to see Philadelphia with a great aquatics facility.
And he wants more people to understand the power of a dream.
Maybe our crime rate will come down. Maybe we'll get more kids to buy into education in schools. Just take a different look at themselves and where they could be.
He reminds me that like every day, like only the strong survive and stuff like that, and that I have to work hard to accomplish what I came here to do.
Them. They were great. So much fun. To learn more about his take on the new movie, please join us in welcoming Jim Ellis to our show. You're a superstar.
No, I'm not.
It's funny because as we were watching the piece, I could tell the front row is all your former swimmers, right?
Swimmers, parents, everybody, yeah.
Yeah, and that little girl in the piece said that you call her your superstar. I have a feeling that maybe somebody in the front row may have heard something similar to that years ago.
They all hear it.
They do.
They're all superstars. Really.
How incredible, how phenomenal. I know last night was your 5th time seeing the movie.
Right.
And when we talked...
Does it get better?
Yes, it does. Every time I see something different, it's like I said last week, watching it in D.C. 2 weeks ago, I finally realized the movie was about me. I was telling everybody it was about my team, and I saw, yeah, my team, and then I said, wait a minute, I think this is about me.
Now, this was not the first time that someone had approached you about doing a movie about your life. Back in the 90s, you had gotten approached, but you didn't accept it.
Yeah, I didn't feel it. I didn't have a feel. They came out from California. We went out to dinner, and we talked. And then I finally said, what's the storyline? You know, what do you want to pursue? Why do you want to do this? And they told me what they had in mind, and I said, see you later.
Yeah.
I said, no, thank you. I'm not interested. And I thought that was it. And then I told a couple of people what happened. They said, you were nuts. You were crazy. I said, I just didn't feel it. Didn't have a feel for it.
And this movie, though, you did have a feel for.
Yes, I did. Yes.
What was different this time around?
Well, I guess it's I'm older. I'm a lot older. I think I'm a little wiser. And I guess it was the timing. The young man called me up, and I enjoyed his presentation. And he was from Pittsburgh, so that was my hometown. And he got the story from some people who knew my parents, so that was another plus in his corner. And then he was willing to come to Philadelphia and meet with me before we discussed anything else, and I was impressed. He just had that thing, you know?
Now, you said this story is just the beginning of the story of your team. Pride is really just the beginning.
Correct. Yeah, because they, for myself, I cover generations. I say I have first, second, third, fourth generation. I'm working on my fourth generation of swimmers now. But that covered the first generation when we were out in West Philadelphia in a program at Sayre Recreation Center. And when I moved to Marcus Foster, that kind of got pushed in the background. A lot of people didn't know that even existed. And they thought the program started in 1980 with the new swimming pool at Marcus Foster. But we had 8, 9 good years laying the groundwork when we were out in West Philadelphia. So when they chose to do that, I was excited about that. And all those swimmers got a little recognition that they never, obtained, with the new program coming along.
Well, Jim, everybody in the front row of that audience that you worked with so many years ago was inspired by your work, and I think now this film is going to inspire many more. So congratulations. I think you should be very proud of making this decision this time around.
Yeah, thanks for having us out here.
Coach
You're welcome.
Jim Ellis, the man that the movie is based on. We're back with the cast from Pride coming up.
That's it.
Up next on 10, Oscar-nominated actor Terrence Howard tells us why his role in the new movie Pride was something he could not pass up. Plus,
Elston, come on now. I can't even get my boys a nose.
Trust me, you and your boy will be just fine.
it's the original king of comedy, Bernie Mac.
What you call yourself doing, man?
I'm just surviving, baby.
Welcome back. Our next guests are two of the stars of the upcoming movie Pride. One portrays the charismatic swim coach Jim Ellis. The other stars as the maintenance man who fights with Ellis to keep the swim team's rec center open.
Hey! What the heck is going on here? Jim, what you call yourself doing, man?
I'm just surviving, baby. Guess we're just in the place we're supposed to be at right now.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You ought to be careful. No clowning in and out the pool. And I'm watching.
Hey, Elston, why don't you come and swim with us?
Jim, where I come from, we swim naked. And I don't want to embarrass nobody.
We're all glad that scene did not happen.
It's on the cutting room floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Terrence Howard and Bernie Mac.
Sit next to the pretty home. Okay, go ahead.
Welcome, guys.
Hi, everybody.
Jill and Lori.
Wow, congratulations.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Best day of my life.
How was the premiere last night?
Beautiful.
I can't talk, so it was real good. Hey, Philadelphia.
baby. Thank you.
I know that you all have screened this movie in different cities, but was there a different...
I saw it for the first time last night.
Really? What did you think?
I thought it was extremely good. I thought it was 4 great moments that made me tear up. I liked the end.
Just 4?
Well, 4 that it was when you do it. You know, we did it.
We did it,
and we know what was there and wasn't there. So it should have been more, but I just work here. You know what I mean?
Bernie, the stuff you're normally doing isn't bringing tears to people's eyes.
Well, I mean, it's a luxury that people like you the way they do, and they don't see you in that light. And that's the fortunate thing of being loved. Richard Pryor had that. And Lady Sings the Blues, he killed. But you love Richard Pryor so much, you know, no matter what he did, you was, you know, and that's a compliment in a lot of cases, but you as an artist, you have to just continue to stay professional and stay in the pocket. It was a group thing, and Elston was a part of a team effort with Terrence. And Terrence made Elston even look even better because they went from one extreme to the next.
And see, that's what I liked about it. I mean, it was, because I'm so much of a drama king. That's just my nature, you know. I try not to be. But you have, when you have Bernie who has, anytime somebody makes you laugh, and you take them right into the very center of your heart. They have a free access anytime they want. And so it makes your tears a little more accessible. It makes your feelings a little more accessible. So last night, I saw a screening before, but when I saw it last night, it was great to me. My little daughter looked at me and she said, "This is a good movie. This is a good movie." I was like, wow.
Well, it has those deep moments that make you want to tear up or bring tears to your eyes, but it's not the heaviest film in the world. It's an entertaining film as well, and it has lighter moments. And Bernie was a part, I think, of 3 of those, if I remember correctly.
Thank you. I mean, I don't think you want to beat people over the head. I think you want to use an art form, and I think Sunu and Paul did a real decent job in presenting that, because so many times you go overboard in films today and trying to make a good film and trying to tap on people's heart, or not going over the top so much. I think it stayed right where it needed to be. It had its highs, it had its lows, and then the young group did a tremendous job.
They're the ones that actually sold it, because
they really did.
You know, here you have someone that is a patriarch, so to speak. This is what Elston was. He was the one from the very beginning when Marcus Foster Poole was handling himself. Then you have Jim, who's coming in as the child of that governed society where you make it, you do things, you know, there's a unity. But then the kids are lost, so when you see them take hold to that baton and get to running with it, then the film makes sense. Then the moment stands with you and stays with you, and that's what happened to me last night. I felt prideful that the kids were going to accomplish it.
And I know that we have a scene from the movie where you two are talking to the kids after this first meet, where they were taking for granted the ability to compete.
Right.
Let's take a look.
I like that one too, yeah.
You know who I think cheated, Mr. Williamson? You did. You all cheated. Because here you had a golden opportunity to do something special, but you pissed the whole thing away because you wouldn't take it seriously. My life is way too short for me to spend my time around people who don't care about nothing.
Wow, and that's real. I mean, that's real. You have kids these days who, do you feel like this is going to be a film that will touch them and affect them in a way that they can see they can achieve anything? You can value life and really accomplish what you dream.
Well, you
go ahead, sir.
You got to think what Thurgood Marshall said to the press when he was leaving the court, and they asked him, "Did you think that everything that you did, was it in vain? Was it worth it?" And he said, "We will see. We will see in time." And sometimes you look around the streets and you think, man, maybe all of those sacrifices are in vain. But when you watch something like this and you see Jim Ellis and people like Jim Ellis that give one little thing, just their time, A little bit of time can make the whole difference. Everybody got gifts.
Well, I know for me as a child, I was them, because being a clown, you know, my grandfather used to get mad at me back in the day because they called it shuffling and jiving. He couldn't stand it. I mean, clowning and stuff all the time. And the teachers used to always get at me, Bernie, take things serious, take things serious. And it didn't happen for me until I developed after my mother passed and my brother passed and my little brother passed year to year, back to back. And then all of a sudden, everything that my mother was saying to me as a child and everything, it tapped in. I no longer saw things in their light. And then Sidney Poitier tapped in on me. I used to watch him, everything that he did. So it might not come right away, that's what I'm trying to say. People have to grow. And we as adults, we forget that we were kids. We forget that we were playful. We forget that we had the same attitude that they did, that we had to develop. And I think sometimes we stand in the microwave society that we have to have the patience of Job. And we have to have the faith and believe and hope this film goes out. And then later on, when these kids out here today, you know, they'll say 5, 7 years once they go to college or have kids or something. I was just like you, I didn't listen, and things like that. That speech is often said by all of us, you know?
Right.
Well, Jim Ellis was up against so many things, and Bernie, you had to go up, in this movie, your character Elston had to go up against the city at one point, who was looking to shut it down, and we have a clip of that. Take a look at this from Pride.
This place is a nesting ground for drugs, thugs, and the lowest common denominator.
Lowest common denominator. Let me tell you something right now, Miss Sue. If it wasn't for this place keeping you off the street, you wouldn't have no pretty threads on your back right now. And Sue, don't you ever forget that.
So, Terrence, what do you think of the normally funny guy, Bernie Mac, and his serious acting? What we just saw right there. He's busting up. I'm not...
I mean, for me, I was standing in the background in that scene watching it. And half of the time I couldn't even see it. I could only hear it. But the empathy that he was crying out to her from, he was, you know me, and if you grew up in this place. Right. So for me, listening to it, it rung of truth. It resonated with my own needs as a child. So I loved it. I was like, yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead. I'm gonna have to step up my game now.
How much of this film came from the script and how much came from your heart?
Do you remember the table read?
I remember the table read, and the table read was one way.
Pages?
Yeah.
That's where you all sit around before the film is shot.
Yeah, we was trying. We was trying at table read. We all looked at each other like, oh my God. I went upstairs to my agent, to my my room, and I asked my agent, called my agent. I was like, get me out of this.
No.
Get me out of this, because I didn't know. And then we get to set, and Sunu comes up. He said, we were just trying to see what we can work with here. We still have some more writing. They came back in 2 weeks later. And then we get to set, and Bernie, me, Evan, Kevin, and all of us, we just made a pact. Sunu made a pact with us. He said he's going to follow us where we go. I had spent enough time with Jim. I said, keep a camera on me, keep a camera on the kids, keep a camera on Bernie, and we're going to make something happen. So a lot of this film became improvisational, but based upon real life experiences. And at the end, it all seemed together, and the writers that set down the initial idea, right on, go ahead. But you know what, we wrote most of that script.
But you know, for me, I'm such a positive cat in anything.
Yeah, you said it was gonna come out.
That I do. Honestly, you know, anything that I do, I just have that in my heart. You know, I don't worry.
Well, we're positive the rest of the show is rest of our show here is going to be fascinating as well. Stick around. We're going to have more with Terrence Howard, Bernie Mac. We're going to be joined by Tom Arnold coming up. We're going to be coming right back.
Hey now, it's Whoopi. I'm just fixing up the perfect morning radio show to start your day. Something make you laugh, something about news, and some fly guests. Now that sounds great.
Wake up with Whoopi Goldberg and move to the music all day. My 1061.
Good morning. Welcome back to 10, a special edition of 10. We're focusing on the movie Pride. We're talking to not only the people that led into this film being made, Jim Ellis, Coach Jim Ellis from Philadelphia, but also some of the stars as well. Bernie Mac, Terrence Howard, and now
we are going to be joined by Tom Arnold. We've been talking to the good guys. They were fighting to keep the swimming team going. Now we are going to meet one of the bad guys. Take a look.
Listen to me! Hey, man, get your hands on me! Listen! You want respect in this game, then you're gonna have to earn it.
Why don't you teach your kids something?
Yeah, he made a bonehead move, but you had 30 before that, and it didn't affect the outcome.
You want respect, you give it.
You earn it. Come on, Coach.
Ooh, that was one of the tense moments in the film.
But he wasn't a bad guy.
He wasn't a bad guy in the movie?
He just had a limited point of view.
Well, let's find out from the man himself. Please welcome Tom Arnold.
Get your hands on me. Good to see you. What's up, man? How you doing, guys? How you doing? Come on down. Of course, the white guy doesn't know how to dress right. Working on my car in the back. Look at these guys, looking so good.
You look great.
We blood. Yeah, that's true.
Now, the two of you on set, what was that like?
It was fun.
Oh, we had, there'll be a good DVD. Yeah, we worked together before a little bit on Mr. 3000 right there.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're both comics, and Bernie's one of my heroes. And he has, Bernie, you can't tell if he's mad at you, because he'll be laying in, and he's smiling, but he's, you know, he got kind of a crazy eye. So you don't know. And when he's mad, he's still smiling. So he could be tearing you a new thing, and you're laughing, but he's like telling the truth. He like gets his point across. And this guy, he you know, treated everybody right. He had a party for everybody every Friday night. He had a little club he formed in the hotel and took care of his, as long as they respected him, the young people and the people. It was great, and he took care of everybody, and
kept everybody drunk.
Kept everybody really drunk.
At that Friday night, it was like, we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah. I heard these guys.
So it was alcohol that led to a great film.
It was food too. Now I gotta tell you, this guy here was he didn't eat for like 6 months before, and you saw the other fellas were in Speedos, and we're down. We happened to film a lot of it in New Orleans. And most of our crew were homeless, basically. They're so grateful. And the caterer would bring you red velvet cake every day, and he couldn't eat anything. And like the kids, you know, they're all, you know. So I, you know, because I feel these people suffered so much, I ate all of it. And by the end of the shooting, they were making me a whole cake to take home every night. And I would go to catering and eat in front of them, and they felt so good. I gained about 40 pounds.
And then he would bring Katrina right back into the hotel because he would sweat. He would be in the gym. And you've never seen a man sweat like him.
Yeah, I worked out hard.
I mean, you know, some people sweat in the corner, and you're like, okay, you sweating. It's like it finds its way over.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's disgusting. I put towels down. But I tell you, talk about the writing of this. And I read the script. I'm friends with, I've worked with the Lionsgate people who are very, and they said, well, we want you to be this, we want you to do something. We'll write a part for you at the beginning, played your first part. And I looked at that, and they said, they called me at the last and said, would you play Big? And I said, you know, I don't like the way, it was fine writing, but not for me. It was a straight up racist. And I said, I know a lot about coaches. I know John Chaney, I know Bobby Knight, I know coaches. It's not 64. It's 74. And I know one thing about great coaches. They don't care if you're black or brown or white. Yeah, all up here, man. Yeah, they don't. They want to win.
He went black.
Why can't I just be black, man? I'm black.
You know, coach.
He sure went black here. He ain't go African American. He went black.
Well, but I'm saying, coach, a real respect, and you get respect by beating them.
You're not still playing Bink.
No, I'm not. But we had. But what I'm saying is, we got into it in that, and we're able because of you were so gracious, and Sunu was gracious, and to get into it, and it meant something bigger. And it's what he was
It
trying
was
to teach
change
his kids.
that people was afraid of at the time. It wasn't the individual races, it's the change of tradition, it's the change of familiar circumstances. So anytime somebody's responsible for like mainline academy, you cannot tell somebody who's had 150 years of tradition that this is going to be okay when it may be possibly threatening. Look at that, look at that, look at, why you keep touching me, man?
He was just trying to defend the cake that was coming to him later in the day.
What I like about the scene is that I pretended I didn't know him when I saw him here after he did a job. I knew exactly who this kid was.
Right.
And and by God, at the end, when I say, when we're at the championship, and I'm saying to my team, I say, that's a different team that we play.
So at the end
but
of the movie,
he earned my respect. I mean, he and the coaches in that world, he earned it.
And your character went full circle.
Yeah, well, no, he's a jerk.
They
all. But if you beat, I mean, there's something about coaches, and there's something about, earning respect. I mean, his kids were acting. I know my kid cheated. I saw what he did. I'm sure that that's Clint Eastwood's son, by the way, Scott Reeves.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure when we got back, back there, I'm sure I slammed him around. I didn't treat my kids that good either. And said we went fair, we don't win. But they were acting like clowns, and they didn't take it seriously. And this sport, I love this sport of swimming. And there are rules, and you follow them, and then if you win, you win. And if you beat us fair and square, you beat us.
It's okay, Bink, you got the job.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You got the job.
Hey, you know what I like about Tom Arnold? This is the first time we've met. We came out and said hi, and you've been talking ever since. This is the
We go now.
I gotta be telling you.
Perfect. That's perfect. Of
We
course,
loved it.
we're back with much more on the movie Pride with Tom Arnold, Terrence Howard.
You brought all the right energy. You brought it all. This is a swim meet. This isn't some backyard function. This is proper swimming attire. This is your uniform.
That's not my uniform.
Elston, come on now. I can't even get my boys a nose.
Trust me, you and your boy will be just fine.
Welcome back to a special edition of 10, which we've devoted to the new movie Pride.
That's right. We've been talking with Tom Arnold, Terrence Howard, Bernie Mac, and a little bit later we're going to be joined by two of the rising stars in the film. But right now we're going to talk more to you guys about this project. Now, you play a swim coach opposite Terrence. What, you said you knew Jim Chaney and you knew Knight.
Yeah, I do.
What did you take from them to put into your character?
Well, I mean, John Chaney, passion, winning, threatening to kill people during press conferences. But then they end up friends. I mean, these coaches, they respect their sport and, and love their sport so much. And they're not, times have changed. In the 60s, it was we lived in a, it's a racist country still. I'm a Jew, by the way, if that's okay. It's a racist country still, but
a new Jew.
Wait, now everybody.
No, he's a brand new
Everybody hates me now. Anyway,
I have a feeling there are about 25 hours of film sitting somewhere. It's just Tom Arnold and Bernie Mac, while Terrence Howard, that one camera that was on you the whole time, is just sitting there waiting for his chance to say something.
She went to Indiana when Bob Knight coached. She dated one of his players. And
Thanks for putting my business out there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was years ago.
By the way, when you said my business, that turned me on a lot. I just want to say, I apologize if that's inappropriate. But just hearing you say that, I'm going to think about that tonight. Anyway, but Bob Knight, I go fishing with him in the summer. I know his passion.
Go over and stand next to him. I want to take a picture suddenly. Suddenly I want to take a picture. I want to see some of that love. There we go.
Yeah.
There, very nice.
Yeah.
There, isn't that sweet?
Fourth wife coming my way. But no, the passion, you get to know these coaches through the sports world, which I was used to be on the Best Damn Sports Show, and you see what they're made of. They're a different breed, but they respect the game so much that if you don't respect the actual game, you know. But then what you do as a player, as a coach, you know, you get your, you know, and then you expect them, you know, you give them that ultimate respect, which you see at the end.
Right.
And thank you, because I could have been left out there as the bad guy, and nobody would have read his Soul Play no more. And
now, the way Tom jumps from one thing to the next, if I did that, y'all say I was high. Y'all say I was high. No. And when you come and when you get the guy and then the coach and then she dated. If I talk all over the world like that.
Okay. Terrence, as the dramatic guy, how did you rein these guys in when you were in set, or was there no reining them in?
No, you just sit back and you let them run themselves ragged. They get tired sooner or later. And then you say, right on, man.
But you're a producer too, right? I mean, this is a guy that was nominated for Academy Award for one film. The other one he said wins is the best. And this is the movie he decides to do about Jim Ellis, because he's so passionate about this man that was here in Philadelphia.
I was passionate about that, but do you know, that's the first movie they paid me on. Damn, I spit all over.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. That's right. Yeah, he didn't get paid for those others.
That's the first movie they
really.
That's true.
It was money involved in it and opportunity, and it's about growth. It's all those little things, and then you sit up and say, I get to play with these two guys, and also Evan Ross, who I think you guys
he's so good.
He's coming out.
You guys know Diana Ross?
Yes.
Her most gifted child.
Yeah.
Played Lil Reggie in this movie.
And we are going to meet him when we come back from this break. We'll have more with the cast from Pride.
Welcome back to the 10 Show. We're here with the cast of the new movie Pride, opening in theaters on March 23rd. Interrupting this conversation.
Being a part of a major production like Pride is nothing new for the guys here on our stage, but for our next two guests, Pride could signify a turning point in their careers.
Hey, don't some of those rec centers have swimming tournaments and stuff?
You mean like meets? Swim meets? Yeah, I suppose they would. Especially the ones that got pools. Why?
Maybe we should get in some.
Hey, mister, are there girls at these meets?
Yeah, that must be why they call them meets. You meet girls.
Please welcome Evan Ross and Kevin Phillips.
Yeah.
Now, you guys, I understand that this younger generation of actors, these swimmers, didn't know anything about the 70s. Is that true? I don't believe that about you. I don't believe that about you. Your mother, Diana Ross, did she teach you something about the 70s?
I asked her about it. I've seen pictures, but she doesn't talk. She doesn't talk much. No, not really. I see pictures, I hear from other people. She doesn't tell me much about it, but I've asked her, and I asked her about the slang. She said she didn't remember the slang much.
Wow.
So I kind of had to...
Now, I know, Kevin, there were some words that you guys were taught when you did your little culture crash quiz about the 70s that you guys wouldn't use in the film. Do you remember what those were?
No, not really.
Jab turkey?
Whatever was contemporary, we couldn't use. So, you know,
we
whatever we
used
say
jab
now,
turkey.
you just could not use.
Okay,
Yeah.
but back then...
Back then, it was dig, you know, you dig.
Jive turkey, all that stuff. Hey, jive turkey.
Like Bernie told us in there. Right, you dig.
You dig.
I'm hip, you know, gripping.
No, getting comfortable using that language was interesting.
What did you guys learn from these men here, seasoned veterans?
Everything. Everything. It was such an experience for me, and I think ever since then, I think I've really, fallen more in love with what I'm doing, and I think it's because of them. You see people that have been doing it for a long time and have been putting a lot of heart into it, and are so talented, and care about everybody around them. And take a lot of time with the other actors, and I feel like they've made me 10 times better in my performances and in the performances in general. You know, and they care so much about it.
You guys did an amazing job.
All right, we'll be right back with more from the crew.